All right, today we're jumping into a big one, a full review of the British Airways flight from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, all the way to London Heathrow. We're going to cover pretty much everything you need to know about this trip.
So it's a journey that's over 6 hours long, connecting two massive global hubs. The big question is, what's it actually like? We're going to break down every single part of the trip, right from the check-in desk in Jeddah to the moment you land in London.
Okay, so first things first, let's get into the basics. We'll take a look at the flight path, the aircraft they use, and, the part everyone wants to know about, the price. So this route takes you from Jeddah's King Abdulaziz International over to London Heathrow, and you'll be flying on a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. It's a pretty long haul, covering about 4,700 kilometers. It's a super popular flight for both business travelers and tourists who are looking to connect through London's giant hub. Now, let's talk about the price tag. As you'd expect, prices vary quite a bit. For a one-way ticket in economy, you're looking at somewhere between $460 and $850. This puts British Airways in a pretty interesting spot. It's definitely not a budget airline, but it's also not usually as pricey as some of the top-tier Gulf carriers on similar routes. Let's move on to the ground experience. A great flight often starts with a smooth departure. So let's see how Jeddah's airport actually holds up. The good news is the experience at King Abdulaziz International is actually pretty great. The new terminals are really modern and efficient, and getting through security is reasonably quick. Just a little heads up, though. It can get seriously crowded during peak travel seasons, like during the Umrah pilgrimage. So for that, we're giving the Jeddah airport experience a really solid 8.5 out of 10. It's a modern, well-designed airport that gives you a strong start to the trip, even with that potential for crowds. Okay, so you've made it through the airport. Now what about getting on the plane? Well, it's your standard group boarding system. But remember, a full Dreamliner can hold almost 300 passengers. Because of that, the whole process can feel just a little bit slow. It's organized, sure, but it's not exactly speedy. And that's really reflected in the score here, a 7.9 out of 10. It's organized, for sure, but the sheer number of people getting on board keeps it from feeling totally seamless. So it's good, but not quite perfect. All right, we're finally on the plane. Now we get to the heart of the review, the part everyone really wants to know about, the onboard experience. We're going to look at the seat, the food, and of course, the entertainment. So in economy, you're looking at a pretty standard 333 layout with 31 inches of pitch. You get all the essentials like a headrest, a screen, and a USB port, but the main thing to know here is the seat itself. It's pretty firm, and on a flight that's over 6 hours long, you definitely start to feel it after a while. And yeah, the score really shows it. At 7.6 out of 10, the seat comfort is our lowest rating of the whole trip so far. The seat is functional, it does the job, but it is definitely not the highlight of this flight. What about the food? Well, you get a hot meal after takeoff and then a light snack before you land, with the usual choices like chicken or a vegetarian option. The quality is decent, but it doesn't really have that wow factor or the variety you might find on airlines like Emirates or Qatar. So for food and drinks, we're giving it a 7.8 out of 10. Look, it's satisfying and it gets the job done, but it's probably not going to be the thing you write home about. Think reliable, not remarkable. Okay, but here's where the experience really shines, the in-flight entertainment. The system is just packed with a huge selection of movies and TV shows, and the whole interface is super easy to use. And that's why it's getting a high score of 8.5 out of 10, tying with the fantastic experience at Jeddah Airport. The entertainment is a real strength for BA on this route. There's more than enough stuff to keep you busy for the entire flight. So, we've crossed continents, and now we're on approach to London. Let's talk about the final leg of the journey and see how the arrival experience at Heathrow stacks up. Look, Heathrow is one of the busiest airports on the planet, and it shows. It's generally very efficient, but you should definitely be prepared for immigration lines that can take anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. The huge plus side, though, is the absolutely fantastic transport links that get you right into central London. That combination of efficiency and amazing connectivity earns Heathrow the highest score of the entire trip, an 8.8 out of 10. Yep, despite the crowds, it's a world-class airport that gets you on your way nice and quick. So, after breaking down every single stage of the journey, from check-in to baggage claim, it's time for the final verdict. When you boil it all down, it's really a story of trade-offs. The highlights are clear. You're on a modern Dreamliner, the entertainment system is great, and the connectivity through London is fantastic.
The weak points? Well, the seat comfort is just average, the food is decent but not amazing, and that boarding process can drag on a bit.
And when you look at all the scores laid out like this, you can really see the story of this flight, can't you? You've got these real high points with the airports and the entertainment, and then these slight dips when it comes to the actual onboard comfort. It's a journey that's really bookended by excellence. All of which brings us to our final overall score. For the British Airways Jeddah to London Heathrow experience, the grand total comes out to a very respectable 8.2 out of 10.
So what does that mean for you? Well, this is a solid, reliable flight that gets the fundamentals right, especially on the ground and with its entertainment. The real question for you is, when you're balancing that average comfort against great connectivity and reliability, does this flight become your #1 choice for the journey? That's something to think about for your next trip.